It's your boy Fenan, and in this video, we got some serious questions we have to answer, ask. And Vada, Victor Conte, and Terrence Crawford got some answers that they need to give the boxing public so that that means me, as a person, can feel comfortable about this big fight that's coming up between Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. Hey, what's good? Just want to give you a little update because I'm not going to do my live today. Do want to let you guys know just face to face that a boxer had accused me of defaming him. And I read the complaint, and it's ridiculous. I spoke with their attorney, and their attorney, although their attorney didn't say it, the attorney knows it's ridiculous. However, I do want to say that people often do these things, not because they think they've actually been wrong, but because they are trying to intimidate someone with the legal process. I am not going to be intimidated by the legal process. This particular boxer has agreed to tell me anytime that he or she thinks that I've defamed them. They now have a duty to tell me directly so that if I did defame them, I can then remove it. However, we also have an understanding that in order for you to say or prove that I have defamed you, you have to prove that I know what I'm saying is not true. You have to prove that I know what I'm saying is not true. You have to prove that I know what I'm saying is not true. That I know it's not true. Which is why I've never defamed anyone, and I stand on that firmly. However, I also want it to be made very clear that I am not going to be intimidated by the legal process. You're not going to send me a letter in the mail and then have me cow-tied to you for the rest of my life. This shit's not going to happen. I'm a fair-dealing person, and I'm glad that we have now agreed that if you think I've said something that actually defames you, that I knowingly said something false about you, you have to call me, ask me, and then I will get rid of it. However, if it is not defamation, trust you me, I am not going to tone down my rhetoric, not one lick. Have a nice day.
Fanon is getting the legal papers pushed in his face. Now, as you guys heard in a quick speed up, shout out to Bruce Vane with that redub. I think that Fanon is in trouble, but I think he's smart enough to know he's in trouble. See, showbiz is not Fanon. Punch Drunk Boxing is not Fanon. Even though Punch Drunk, he's like a T.O. fan, which, is neither here or there. But both of those guys versus what Fanon doing versus those guys brought up reasonable doubt. They didn't say that Terrence was doing anything. Fanon has came out flat out and was like, hey, no, I think you're juicing. You better stop that shit before you harm your body. That's what he said on camera. So when you hear something like that, being Team Crawford, what would you expect to do? You know what I mean? That's the only, look, Terrence is doing the right thing to me. Shut these guys up for talking all this shit they've been doing for years. It's time to knock that shit off. This is the time and platform of cancel culture anyway. You can't just say whatever you want about somebody just because you feel this is the case. And I don't know how Fanon comes off saying, well, I didn't say anything. You have to prove that what I'm saying is untrue. Well, what the fuck are you talking about? You're speculating that all of these things, well, he's not even speculating. He's just saying that he's cheating. See, he can bring up Victor Conte, but he doesn't have to bring up Victor Conte, right? To say that Terrence Crawford's cheating. You see what I'm saying? Like others have at least linked. In other words, you got a fighter that has never popped dirty. That's always came clean. Right? And before the Victor Conte bullshit, right? Fanon was saying that I think he's cheating. Anyway, so look, yeah, I think he needs to be reprimanded. He needs to be muzzled. And I think it's going to happen. He claims it's not. It is. Because I think they gave him a cease and desist letter. Like, hey, stop the bullshit you're saying, or we're going to take you to court. Now, he's trying to get all big, bad, and bold, and For those who don't know, Fenan got himself in some trouble years ago when, because everybody is not about the Fenan collab, okay? And he got into some issues with, I think it was with Canahan, and I think Canahan did something or said something, or I believe that's around the words, but I could be wrong. Nonetheless, saying all that to say this, you can piss off guys like Ring IQ, Bruce Vane, Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News. That's fine, because we're not really the same channels anyway. We're pretty much those kind of draw it down the middle based on our own logical thinking type people, or how we think as individuals on our platforms. And all of us have that in common. We do not agree with the bullshit Fenan is doing over there. And Fenan had allies. He had the LDBC and a lot of other people that he rolled with. However, they fell out with him too. And you know the saying, it's everyone's not going to like you. But when everyone dislikes you, something's wrong with you. Okay, that's a fact. If nobody likes you, everyone finds fault in the shit that you do, maybe you need to reevaluate yourself. Okay. That's how you speak an opinion. That's how you do it. Not the shit he's doing and, making it bad for Terrence Crawford, because all this is about the destruction, the beating, okay? The hiding that Terrence Crawford put on Errol Spence. And they never got over that, because Errol Spence never came back to give them anything to really parade around about. So they had to come up with every and any excuse possible. And they found one, needless to say. And it's sad they were looking that long for an excuse to throw into Terrence's face. That, when he got back to him, he's like, no, bro, I'm not cheating, and I'm going to show that bitch something. And he should. See, Fenan is doing things wrong, and I think he's going to get himself in trouble with it. And I think he knows when he thought, well, they can't push me. I mean, well, here's the deal. If Fenan has to go out and get him a lawyer, that's going to be maybe a $2,000 or $3,000 retainer. Hell, that's probably one of his checks. You see what I mean? So I'm pretty sure with the numbers that he has, he's making about $5,000 to $7,000 a month in revenue. Give or take, right? So for him to go out and spend money on a lawyer, I don't think will happen. I think he's going to shut the fuck up. He's already, he doesn't want people to think, his audience to think that he will, because a lot of them, I think they're straight up retarded for following him, but for each his own. But I don't think that he's going to come out of his pocket to try to defend the words that he's saying, and the words that he's saying has defamation written all over it. And I think he knows that. I think he's smart enough to know that. And if he's not smart enough to know that, he's an idiot. You know what I mean? Because what he was saying was defamation. Yeah, he's on steroids. That's defamation. Because now you're giving some guy a reputation of doing something that, for one, he hasn't been committed of, he's never tested positive from, and you shouldn't put that put him and drugs or PEDs in the same sentence. But he's doing it anyway because he hates the idea of Terrence Crawford winning. And I don't know what it is about Fenan disliking Terrence Crawford. A lot of those guys did do that, though. A lot of them did follow the same shit that Fenan is doing. Yeah, I don't have to say any names. They know who they are. They discredited Terrence Crawford every chance they got. Oh, Kell Brook's eye was already shattered from Golovkin. Oh, Sean Porter wasn't the same Porter. He was the podcast Porter when Terrence Crawford fought him. Oh, Errol Spence, he was in a wreck, therefore he couldn't fight the way he used to be if it would have happened before the NC, if it would have happened before then. All of those dudes had something bad to say in every situation when it came down to Terrence beating one of these motherfuckers. So yeah, they've been hating a while. And I think Terrence has had enough. Like, look, let me shut you up because you're just talking a bunch of bullshit. See, it's already bad that you got much bigger channels like Showbiz and others talking about it. And as long as you talk about Terrence Crawford and PEDs in the same sentence, it's by association granted. So people need to understand that. However, not everyone of this day has the patience to sit there and listen to every word or everything that Showbiz will say. They'll just chop it up as context. Okay, that's, oh, well, he may be saying it out of context because you didn't listen to the whole thing. However, because they don't listen to the whole thing, it got a bad rap. But Fenan, no. Fenan is totally different. He is not the same as someone like Showbiz. Okay? If Showbiz is talking about something that could affect Terrence Crawford's career, which it can, when Terrence beats Canelo, it's going to come up again. But then I think it's going to be too late because it's already out there, regardless of what the intent was. It's just out there. However, right, Fenan is just going out and saying, oh, well, I just think he's a cheater. You see what I mean? And that's just not right. And we're going to see if he does go to court. But I suspect he's going to shut the hell up after reading that letter. He's going to pretend like he's going to keep talking. He's not going to make no more of Terrence Crawford. And if he does, he has huge balls. You know what I mean? More power to him. But you guys tell me what you think of Fenan being sued by Team Crawford. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!